I don't remember exactly when, but there came a point that I started feeling miserable because I couldn't remember things. It was sometime in my early 20s. I felt a gap I couldn't translate. I started becoming obsessed with the idea of memory, the concept, the brain, its neural networks and adaptations. What constitutes memory and how slippery it is, even for the scientists studying it. I developed a memory fetish in a way, scratching things on an inner plane that were invisible and afar. I remember I wrote my entire uni dissertation on the subject of memory and film. I remember reading books and articles about it. I felt lonely because it wasn't a whim. I could see how other people would joke about their poor memory, and I could tell that for me it was different. It was actually painful that I couldn't remember. Doing therapy, starting therapy at 28 years old, started creating some kind of stability. I started communicating with my body's memory. Time went by. I forgot about my forgetting. I hid it somewhere, put it on the side because my mind couldn't figure it out. It was like a huge blind spot. And then a flash came through. A memory of me at my grandparents' summer house. I saw myself as a young girl, a little girl, really, really scared, crouched over some pool of water, looking at her reflection, terrorized. And as if in a Magritte painting, I saw my grandpa's eyebrows floating over the garden. I was 42 when that memory shook the inside of my eyes. I felt rattled at the time, but couldn't attribute it to a tangible incident I remembered. So I just thought that it was the fear that I had for my grandfather, because he always seemed strict and foreboding to me when I was a child. I slept on it and forgot about it. Then a few months later, during a family constellations session, his energy came up again. It was wordless. I just saw glimpses of my grandpa's lineal grief. There were just tears pouring and pouring. The person who was feeling my grandpa's energy leaned next to me and cried tears of something deep and old that I couldn't really understand. I almost dismissed that session as something irrelevant, as something I might never quite link to the rest of my story. Oh well, like my sister loves to say. I forgot again. From time to time, the eyebrows would pop up in my mind, or the tears from the family constellations session would spring like a disembodied fountain. these images would show their face and then evaporate. All I could see in their place was a question mark, followed by an ellipsis. Ellipsis is an interesting term for ... It signifies omission of words, a pause, or an incomplete thought. In Greek, ellipsis, it denotes lack or deficiency, something that's not there. My memory had paused. Something was not there. And there wasn't much I could mentally do about it. I was missing the facts. So any inquiry on my part was doomed to just drop into nowhere. I spent my days looking inwards. I was deep into studying and training as a psychic and energy healer, exploring the inner and outer planes with a fervent devotion that now looks as if it had a purpose of its own. I wasn't just practicing daily. I was moving towards something and didn't know it. I was lifting the covers and letting air into my very existence. This churned a lot of things up. I spent my days looking inwards, staring at an abyss that was voicelessly rising up to the surface. I was preparing the grounds, tilling the soil for my soul to rise. When the memory surfaced, I saw my grandfather. We were playing in the backyard of my childhood summer house. I was 4. He tickled me. It annoyed me, but we laughed. He didn't look like he was having fun. He was standing above me and managed to pin me down with one hand, the other one entering my body in places I didn't even know existed at the time. There was suddenly the smell of vomit, and I realized he'd thrown up. My mother and grandmother were not present to this, but were near, somewhere inside the house. The deed was done. It was like the fabric of reality was torn open and a beast had come through. My teacher and my psychotherapist held my hand as I traversed this strange, wicked land. I tried to stay afloat, do things like I used to. It was impossible. My body needed to rest, and it needed to rest fast. I started manifesting disease like it was cupcakes. I stayed in bed for the longest time. It was excruciating. The terror of lying in bed and not being able to move or do things or engage with people or cook looked like depression from the outside. My body started to twitch, do sudden movements. It would make these strange movements like it was discharging electricity that was pent up for decades. It was like a trance almost. It felt like I was dropping into something. As I was sitting on my couch or at the desk, I'd sense this wave coming over me, and my body would collapse inwards, as if a switch went off. There was nothing I could do but stay with it. It was like all my energy would go down the drain, and I had no power over it whatsoever. And first there was the twitching, my arms would move, my feet, my knees. There were so many parts of my body that I didn't know could move involuntarily. It felt like I was descending into the depths of something unspeakable. And when I landed there, all there was to do was lie still. At some point, an initiation of movement would rise from somewhere inside my body. The twitching would start again for a bit. And at some point, my eyes would open up wide, as if like a jolt of coffee had woken them up. And that would be the sign that I could get up on my feet. After the first week of this, I moved from the desk or the couch or wherever I was to the bed. I saw that it was starting to take more and more time, and it was going deeper and deeper. I was mostly at home at the time, and most of my clients had disappeared, so I had the luxury of time. Plus, like I'd said, I would fall ill all the time. My soul was there. She was speaking her truth. I opened my heart to accommodate what she was narrating. It broke my body and built it back up. When something out of the ordinary happens, look to where your soul is breathing. She beckons you near through unsuspected channels, usually the heartbroken ones. Your soul is there when you're cracked open, in pain or solitude. Through the cracks, she holds the light. Attuning to her messages gets easier with time. And one day, she's no longer down in the abyss, but she's a part of your guiding system. She becomes the lens and the light, the filter through which you read the world, and the compass that shows you the way. When soul rises to meet your thinking mind, safety ensues, and you feel held in an abundance previously unknown. The richness in which you swim is not apparent to the naked eye. Let it flow through you and feel its movement in your body. When homeostasis ensues and your soul has her voice, let her pile up your knowledge and sign your initials onto the wall of your remembrance. My soul was here. She rose up. She she persevered. The management of sorrows led her to me. Is there another way to live than together? I embody my soul. I am soul. I am tethered in her becoming. Is there a poem not strewn with spirit? The unspeakable rises through feeling, through connection of things that don't belong together. In my poetry, I connect my past to my undoing, memory to lived experience, the spiritual to the tangible. I speak through words and wish for resonance to reach your base and soothe your inner being, recalibrate your fears, and open up your channels of remembrance. I speak for you so that you can meet your soul and not have to listen to me anymore.